Every once in a while, I get an email from a subscriber that really, touches on what I think a lot of other people are feeling. And I got an email from a guy just this morning. And it goes like this. It says, Chris, you got into silver at very low prices in the early 2000s and made out good. I started acquiring silver in 1964, and I've bought ever since. I'm still waiting for silver to reach its true value. This is never going to happen. I'm not the only one. Now us older collectors are passing on, and their silver ends up at coin dealers. But they never realize the real gain. Instead of breaking even, I could have gotten into the stock market and made some real money. Good luck with your holdings. I hope it works out better for you than me. The powers that be will never let silver prices rise. Not never, ever. Good day. Now, I feel for older stackers. I mean, I can imagine myself being back in the 1960s going, oh my God, before they had internet, crying to my friends at the, VFW or whatever, saying, they demonetized silver, Johnson, killed Kennedy. I can see myself being there, and I can understand the despair after 50 years of this thing. And quite frankly, it's been going on even longer than that. Since the crime of 1873, the banksters have been attacking silver. And I could feel, being an older stacker, seeing how long this has happened, watching, bubble after bubble in the bond market in Japan and, the stock market, the blue chips, the NASDAQ, the housing bubbles, housing bubble 2, cryptocurrencies, all these bubbles that you could have made money on. And yet here is silver, languishing at $16 an ounce in 2017. Probably even far cheaper than it was back in 1964 in real terms, given the amount of quadrillions of dollars of wealth that have been pumped into the system. I get it. I feel for you. I am not unsympathetic to your cause. And here's what I wrote him back, and it was just a quick email. I said, I'm sorry, and I totally understand how you feel. I am still young and full of energy. I see their scheme becoming more unsustainable and the consciousness on the issues that matter are rising. I also see a quickening because of the internet. Maybe because I'm at the forefront and I've seen so much progress that I'm a bit more optimistic than you. Back in 1964, things took forever to happen. I mean, the Vietnam War happened for years before social pressure mounted. Now these warmongers can't even get us into Syria. Please don't think that your efforts were in vain. I hope that you have children and grandchildren that understand silver and that you can declare victory in them. If not, just send it to me. I'll put it to good use. And I give a little wink and nod. But to me, this is a matter of moral, conscious, monetary, financial causes that, to me, mean everything. Like, I am never going to fall for their tricks. Not falling for their retirement schemes. I'm not falling for their wars. I'm not falling for their media propaganda. I'm not falling for their fiat. I'm not falling for any of their schemes because I know what is true. And if it means my whole life passes me by, like this poor gentleman, and I remain intellectually honest and on the right page, and I'm able to pass on generational wealth to my children, so be it. My job is not to get rich, get quick, scheme, and then, I don't even know what you would do then. Would you fly off to Vegas and go bang hookers and do coke? Like, to me, this is the reward. The reward is having something real in your life, something that is meaningful that will pass on to future generations. That's why I do talk about generational wealth. I don't talk about making a quick buck. I don't talk about, moving on to the next Ponzi scheme. I'm only talking about what is real. And I'm also seeing the quickening of this. Just in the time period that I've been around in the space, now I got 133,000 subscribers. I, at the very least, clicked a subscribe button, and there's probably even more people who would have watched me and maybe never subscribe. But that's a significant amount of people. And I look at this chart that Demonocracy put out about this Exeter's Pyramid, about the quadrillions of dollars worth of debt. And I put into perspective the 2008 financial crisis that almost rocked the entire Western civilization to its knees. And it was just an institutional crisis in the bond market. This isn't a global sovereign debt crisis. This isn't a global sovereign currency crisis. This isn't, unsustainable amount of debt put into circulation. There's so much stuff, and I get how it seems like the banksters are the evil empire with their Death Star, and they can blow up any market that they want. But at the end of the day, it takes very little for it to blow up. It doesn't take much, and that's what gives me optimism to go about this every day. Stick to what you can control. I don't think about, how bad and evil and, worrisome they are, or else I would never get out and do this in public, if I really feared them. I just know I'm going to shine my light the best that I can and move forward. And if it means that I end up 50 years into this with a huge silver stack, and I've illuminated and educated hundreds of thousands of people who are then passing it on to millions of their friends and family, wow, what a great legacy that would be. And even if you're not, Chris Dwayne over here at the, Silver Shield channel doing this stuff, you have that victory in your own hands. You should have friends and family that you can pass it on to. I don't think wealth should be stored up. It should be passed on. And if it means passing it on to younger people and you die poor, to me, that's a victory. You can't take it with you. So you might as well give it to people who deserve it, who are aware of it, who will be good custodians of it, and make good use of it. That's your life's energy, and that to me is what this is all about. So, I get the defeatist mentality that an older person may have being involved in the silver market for 50 years going through this. But I'm telling you, you got your wrong perspective, and you'll either die very bitter that you got invested in this and nothing came of it, or you can change your whole mentality in an instant and say, hey, this is true, this is my legacy, and I'm going to pass it on to somebody who will appreciate it and take good care of it, and possibly be the beneficiary of the single largest transfer of wealth that I think will happen in my lifetime. I don't know if it's going to happen if you're 78 years old and you're still stacking this. I can't guarantee that. I don't know.
On Thursday at about 11 o'clock in the morning, the Federal Reserve noticed a tremendous drawdown of money market accounts in the United States to the tune of $550 billion was being drawn out in a matter of an hour or two. The Treasury opened up its window to help. They pumped $105 billion in the system and quickly realized that they could not stem the tide. We were having an electronic run on the banks. They decided to close the operation, close down the money accounts, and announce a guarantee of $250,000 per account so there wouldn't be further panic out there. And that's what actually happened. If they had not done that, their estimation was that by 2 o'clock that afternoon, $5.5 trillion would have been drawn out of the money market system of the United States, would have collapsed the entire economy of the United States, and within 24 hours the world economy would have collapsed. Now, we talked at that time about what would happen if that happened. It would have been the end of our economic system and our political system as we know it. And that's why when they made the point, we've got to act and do things quickly, we did.
The things would tell me that if things are this bad in 2008 that almost brought it to its knees, and knowing that all the debts are still out there and that this problem's at a sovereign global generational thing, I'm willing to bet my entire life and everything that I do that silver will be the single largest transfer of wealth from all this fiat quadrillions of dollars worth of generational debt-based Ponzi scheme money into things that are real. And I have no other reason but to be into silver.